District 1.
Present.
Councilman Michael J. Wade, District 2.
Present.
Councilman Don McCallum, District 3.
Present.
Councilwoman Paulette Sanford, District 4. Councilwoman Patricia Jenkins, District 5.
Present.
Also, we have with us interim town clerk, Lori Kirkpatrick, interim town treasurer, Shadika Wright, Walter Young, water and wastewater supervisor, Lee Wells, street supervisor, official journal, Jackie Roberts, attorney Mark Spatillo, city attorney, chief of police Russell Mills. Okay, this time we'll have public comments. If you have a public comment, please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes to state your name. Public comments at this time.
I was reading the agenda, and as a concerned citizen, I was looking at the recommendations on here for item I through L, Chief Russell Mills. And as a concerned citizen, I was wondering, we lose what we in the process of whatever tossed up for as officers, but I don't see a reason that we should even hire an officer. We're not using the ones we got. And second of all, no crimes are being solved, so what we need more officers for? We done had several burglaries over a period of time, a lot of stuff going on, they're not doing the job. So, and then another thing is, I think before the council make a decision, from my knowledge, passed on meetings, Russell Mill hadn't even been in budget since he's been in office. So I think as taxpayers, we need to make sure that if he's going to make a recommendation to see what his budget is and see if it's approved. And if it's not, he needs to come from out on Lake Clay and let him come to work. Let him work, that's his job. He's the last man on the ship if it goes down. So he needs to come in and spend extra hours. Chief Hollins said he worked nights and stuff like that. Another deal is, I see an officer on here wants to consider coming back for part-time. I think he needs to submit a letter to the councilman. Why did he retire from the first time? And another thing is, corrupt leadership in the department. Is he one of his good old boys that are going to come in and do his work or what? So as a concerned citizen, I don't think the taxpayer should be held. If he can't budget, why burden the city? They was talking about how to merit everybody else spending money. Hey, if it's not in his budget, I don't think we need any hiring. And another thing is this town is predominantly black. Why we don't have more black officers? Why don't he follow policy and procedures for his hiring? He needs to advertise. And if they claim the police department is already corrupt, we don't need somebody that once been there. And if a police department, if a job is corrupt, why do you want to go back? It looks like you'd be running from it. So there's something in it they want to come back. I would say no as a concerned citizen. I think y'all need to just, as he always says, see what the citizens say.
Any other public comments? Being that there are not any. Item A under old business has requested to be in executive session.
Discuss it.
New business, approve resolution 13-008 for the block grant. That's in your packets. It's a resolution adopting procedures to be utilized for the procurement with the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Funds. Funds we applied for, I think the last time we received this block grant fund, we received the amount of $454,000 for the water well that is at Mayfield Park. So we're in the process of securing these funds again and applying for these funds. And I need a resolution to move forward to apply for the application. So moved by Councilwoman Mosey. Second? Second by Councilwoman Sapp. All in favor state by saying aye. Any opposed? So that motion carries. The next resolution is 13-009. The resolution authorizing the mayor to request administrative consultant proposal for services. This is also pertaining to the block grant. These are the necessary steps we did the first time, and we have to do the same steps for the next time for our block grant. So I will entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Wade, second by Councilwoman Jenkins. All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that motion carries as well. The third resolution set by the Louisiana Department for the block grant is a resolution authorizing the mayor to request engineers' qualification statements. Still the same qualification we took the last time. And I'll entertain a motion at this time to require those qualification statements from engineers. Second. Okay, moved by Councilwoman Mosaic, second by Councilwoman Jenkins. All in favor, please state by saying aye. Any opposed? So the motion carries. The fourth resolution from CDC is a resolution of support for passenger rail service across North Louisiana. At a recent CDC meeting in Boulder City, we were talking about passenger rail for the Texas Louisiana statewide. It might not result as in coming through Homer, but in the future we hope it will. So we want to have a resolution in place just in case that happens. At this time,
I will make that motion.
motion made by Councilwoman Sanders.
Speaking with the process, that lady that brought that, it was wonderful.
Wonderful.
If we could get it anyway near, it would be.
Ms. Vicky?
I second.
Second. All in favor, state by saying aye. Any opposed? Being there are none, that motion carries. Thank you for passing those resolutions to support the town of Homer. The fourth, I have letter E, number 30. Approve additional funding for Homer Baseball Association in the amount of $2,909.72. Attorney Carvin brought this forth in July to the August agenda, and I mistakenly forgot. So I asked him to remind me again, and he did remind me, and I will read you the email that he sent me about what these items are for. Mayor attaches an invoice for $2,990.72 received from Minute Athletic for various all-star uniforms that we had to pay this year. Unfortunately, we came up short with our income this year due primarily to rising insurance costs and corresponding number of children that could not pay to play, which of course we allowed to play nonetheless. And help on this would be very much appreciated. The town is inclined. You can write a check to Minden Athletic, or you can pay to the Homer Recreation for all the parts and invoices that we have listed. Thank you in advance. Attorney General. And the invoices are attached.
These are pre-purchased items.
Yes. They are already purchased, yes. And the bill is at Minden Athletic, and the bill is in your packet.
Motion that we pay this, Mayor.
A motion made by Councilwoman Jenkins, second. Second by Councilwoman Sanders. Okay, all in favor, make a motion by saying aye. Questions?
I have a question. Do we have documentation of like the students whose fees were paid? Because we have documentation of where the money has gone. You know, we've had so much confusion about expenses and where funds are going. Do we have documentation other than that invoice from Minden Athletics as to the other expenses that were incurred through that organization? So that we can, if we approve this, we can attach that information to our documentation just to verify that these were the actual expenses?
That has not been a requirement of that. Since I've been here, that has not been a requirement that any organization submit, as long as they have a corporate endeavor.
So we have a corporate endeavor, but I'm just saying because we had so many problems, so many complaints, so many accusations of misappropriation of funds, I just feel like the more documentation we have, the better off we are in terms of covering our budget.
Maybe we need to do that.
You see what I'm
Do
saying?
you want the motion contingent upon providing documentation of what children were paid for?
And any other expenses that's incurred
And that's not only that organization.
with any organization.
Not just that.
I mean,
Okay, I need to hear that motion.
motion is made, please?
Pardon?
Can you clarify again?
Motion, I make a motion that we pay this.
Contingent upon receiving documentation of the expenses that were incurred.
Okay. Motion so moved by Councilwoman Lee, still second by Councilwoman Sanders. And all in favor by saying aye? Any opposed? So moved. Carries. Yeah. Okay, next we have item F, this is blank. Item G states the request and the place on the agenda and the position of the town. Item H is Franklin Evans, request to be on the agenda with regard to suspension. Think about holdings.
I believe at this current time that Mr. Evans and Chief Mills are already discussions. If we just pass that temporarily to see how they resolve that. J and K, after speaking with Captain Mallory, he has advised that it would be his recommendation that we pass J and K to September. I mean till October. Until, yes.
J and K.
Yes.
Mayor, we couldn't hear that one.
Yes, yes.
Yes, we would ask that J and K be taken until October.
What about H?
As I stated previously, Mr. Evans and Chief Mills are in discussions right now. If we can just pass that temporarily, and let's let them come back to it.
Still up for discussion tonight.
Like I said, let's let them talk first, and then we'll.
So if the chief is going to come out and give us his recommendation on that, right?
That's what I'm saying. Let's wait till they finish, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, so they're still talking?
Yes.
Hold on.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know, the whole, it's still talking. I should talk this way.
We're not in public comment. Go ahead. I'll let you see.
I think, excuse me for interrupting, but I just need to know, is that legal? Don't he supposed to do that before this open up? You don't do it down in the meeting? Yes. You put stuff on your agenda. I thought it's supposed to be amended or suspended at the beginning.
That's why we're holding it right now, just letting them talk for the moment. As I stated to Chief Mills and also stated to...
Yeah, but the agenda had 8, 9 days to talk.
Understand this point. Until we have one person talk that time. And I would also ask for the respect of the police officers being for the position as chief of the police department, that you show a little respect and let them deal with this matter first in-house. I believe with regards to items H through L, excluding J and K, we could go into executive session with regards to those matters, if the parties agree. That would be Chief Mills and Mr. Evans.
Mr. Evans, you agree? Sure. Mr. Blaine? Anyone else? Anyone else going to executive session? motion to amend the agenda to give an opportunity to former Officer Scott Glenn as well as former Officer Frank Evans to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters. First motion is to amend the agenda, the second motion is to discuss those matters in executive session.
Before we do that, this should have happened before now. Whatever discussion, all the discussion that has taken place tonight should have taken place before this meeting tonight. And anything that was going, I mean, I don't have a problem with going to executive session, but I just feel like all of this discussion that's taking place, you guys have had 30 days or 20 days or whatever. You should have had these discussions before the night meeting. This was so unprofessional for the meeting to start and you guys were talking about whatever. You should have tried to work out your issues prior to this meeting before you had these items put on the agenda. I just want the record to show that. Now I make the motion that we do what?
Amend it? Let's amend the agenda first. I need a motion to amend the agenda. So moved by Councilman Wilson. Second by Councilman Dick. All in favor, say by saying aye. Any opposed? So that motion carries. The second motion will be to amend the agenda to allow former Officer Frank Evans as well as former Officer Scott Glenn
So moved.
to speak about personnel matters with Chief Smith in this executive session. Moved by Councilman Wade. Second. Do I have a second to go into executive session? Second by Councilwoman Sept. All in favor, state by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. It's time in executive session.
You're invited. See you there.
Stand by.
We are going to set up employment for Officer Scott Glenn and former Officer Scott Glenn and Officer recommendations for Officer Scott Glenn and Officer Frank Evans.
You want my recommendation?
Yes.
For Officer Scott Glenn,
One time. Officer Scott Glenn.
termination.
Frank Evans.
We're going to get with Mr. Patella and Officer Evans and a independent expert on the computer, and then we'll make a determination that time.
Okay. You're gonna take the motion on the first recommendation. Chief said, I'm gonna make sure that the recommendations are recorded properly. From Chief Mills, I have a recommendation to terminate Officer Scott Glenn,
Correct.
and that's with 2 weeks pay. Those suspended or without 2 weeks pay, that's suspended.
Since he's been suspended on the suspension, when I suspended him for the 2 weeks, as far as I'm concerned, that was without pay. On the first issue, on the second one as well.
Okay, the motion is to terminate Officer Scott Glenn. The recommendation. Now, I would like to hear a motion to that effect.
I so move.
Second,
Yeah,
any discussion?
are we making the recommendation with pay or without?
That depends on your motion.
Termination with the 2 weeks pay based on the information that was received from Officer Scott.
Councilman Wade has made a motion that we accept Chief Mills' termination of Scott Glenn, but do render the 2 weeks pay. That was in August, is that correct? Correct. Following the Bill of Rights. Do you still second, Councilman Cabot?
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay. Okay. Please state your recommendation for Officer Evans again.
Officer Evans' recommendation is to continue to be on leave without pay, pending a further investigation with myself, Colonel Patella, Officer Evans, and a computer expert outside of the police department and anybody who's affiliated with the town hall. And that's to take place
Hopefully the next 2 weeks, hopefully we'll have that in the next couple of days.
Okay. Placing Officer Evans going to remain on leave without pay, suspension without pay. And then an investigation from Attorney Patillo, yourself, Chief Mills, Officer Evans, and a computer expert without any ties to the town hall.
correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Then you will come back in 2 weeks and give us your recommendation date.
I hope we can come back within this week.
This is within 1 week. Do I hear a motion to accept that recommendation from Chief Mills?
I'm back in motion.
Motion made by Councilman Calvin, second. Second by Councilwoman Sanford. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
And the reason I vote is because I feel like the investigation should have taken place before I was put on the agenda, but it's got the same thing. What we're recommending be done now should have been done before it was put on the agenda.
Okay, one let the record reflect, one opposed, Councilwoman. Okay. Item J, K, and L will be handed to the police hire committee. And at the next meeting will be taken for discussion. Take a vote.
Repeat that again.
Items J, K, and L.
Pay.
Payable, and they will be issued to the police hire committee, and will be discussed at the next meeting. If there is no further, now we'll table the mayor's report to the house. So if there's no further discussion, now we can take a motion to adjourn. Have someone second.
Third.
Who's the second? Second.